Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Woohoon. God level selection for instant upgrades. Chapter 91. HMPH. Don't be complacent. Even if your soul skills are weird, so what if you can defend against thunder and lightning? Seeing Qi Ling's confident look, Jinhee thought that his golden holy dragon armor could just make thunder and lightning ineffective, so said. As a powerful attack-type soul master, can you keep up with my speed? My speed is even inferior to that of agility attack-type soul masters. The thunder and lightning gave Jinhee powerful attack power and lightning-like speed. But coincidentally, Qi Ling happened to have such an ability. 3,000 thunderbolts, thunderous flash. Just when Jinhee was showing off his speed to the crowd, Qi Ling's figure suddenly disappeared from the place and then appeared in front of Jinhee instantly. Jinhee was startled by the sudden appearance of Qi Ling. He tripped and fell to the ground. He said in disbelief, how could you? How could you? What's impossible? You don't think you are really fast, do you? Qi Ling smiled. In my eyes, you are as slow as a snail. Qi Ling didn't mean to be angry at Jinhee, but because he had blazing eyes, looking at Jinhee's speed seemed to be slowing down. If he wanted to, Jinhee couldn't even stop himself. But now, no matter how Jinhee stimulates his lightning power and increases his speed, Qi Ling is like his own shadow, keeping a step away from him and looking relaxed. This was obviously a humiliation and ridicule to himself, but Jinhee had no choice. He had already reached his maximum speed and could no longer speed up. Everyone in the audience only felt that they saw two phantoms, chasing each other on the ring. They couldn't help but sigh that the two were so powerful that they seemed to be equally matched. But only Jinhee, who was in the battle, knew how evenly matched the two were. He was basically being beaten. Who is this guy, and how can he have such terrifying strength? After Jinhee stopped panting, Qi Ling stood in front of him and said without even taking a breath, "What's wrong? Are you tired again? Young man, you can't do it. With such a small body, how can you become a gold medal? Fighting spirit." Jinhee was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. He was here to fight as Jin Duhoon, not to run a marathon. How could he not be tired after running for so long? Damn it, don't be too proud. If you can, just come and beat me. Jinhee stood up and shouted, "I don't believe you can beat me to death." Qi Ling and the Shrek people in the audience all had expressions of bewilderment at this time. They almost wondered if they had heard wrongly. This Jinhee actually asked Qi Ling to beat him. Do you really not want to live? Oh my god, there are still real warriors in this world. Such courage is unprecedented, and it is unlikely to be seen again in the future. Oscar said in admiration. Perhaps this Jinhee is an M, and it's not necessarily true that he has a crush on Boss Qi. Ma Hongjun said in a vulgar manner, after all, Boss Qi's appearance makes men and women kill each other. What are you talking about, you damn fat man? Xiao Wu said unhappily, if you dare to talk nonsense again, I won't teach you a lesson. Do you also want to try my 8th level wrestling? Ah, don't you dare, Sister Xiaowu, I was wrong. Ma Hongjun hurriedly begged for mercy. Yu Xiaogang, who was on the side, analyzed seriously at this time. This Jinhee probably wants to rely on his own lightning protection barrier to hurt Qi Ling. What? How could there be such a stupid person? Dai Mubai asked in surprise. His own full-strength attack couldn't do anything to Qi Ling, so what effect can he rely on his own counter-injury? You can't say that. After all, Qi Ling was in a full defense posture when he attacked. Yu Xiaogang continued, and if a person attacks, he will definitely relax his defense. This is what Jin is betting on. Then, will Qi Ling be in danger? Ning Rongrong couldn't help but ask. If Jinhee gets another soul ring, he might really have a chance. After all, his martial soul can be considered a top-quality martial soul. Yu Xiaogang said. But now, you will be able to celebrate Qi Ling's first victory today. Qi Ling also had a dark look on his face after hearing Jinhee's request. Could it be that Jinhee really has some special hobby? I have never seen such a request, and actually let someone beat him. You really want me to hit you? You can't bear my punch. Qi Ling said kindly to Jinhee. HMPH. Stop talking nonsense, you can withstand my attack, why can't I withstand your attack? Jinhee said in disbelief, if you don't dare, then admit defeat as soon as possible. Oh, no, I mean, with this punch from me, it's very likely that you will. Qi Ling looked at Jin He's magical look and had no choice but to say, "Oh, okay, I'll just use normal strength is good." Jin He doesn't care what Qi Ling says, he is now bent on using his lightning protection barrier to counterattack Qi Ling, thereby creating opportunities for himself. "Don't worry, mother-in-law, come quickly," Jin He said, taking a horse stance, and at the same time, lightning appeared all over his body, catalyzing his lightning protection barrier to the maximum. "Okay then, get ready, I'm coming," Qi Ling said, slowly raising his right fist, Belong Fist, Air Shock. When he saw Qi Ling's soul power gathering into his right fist bit by bit, Jin He couldn't help but break into a cold sweat and ask subconsciously, "Can I regret it?" "It's too late," Qi Ling said, punching out, and suddenly the surrounding air sounded like it was being shattered, and huge pressure hit Jin He. Of course Qi Ling knew that Jin He's lightning protection barrier would cause the body to be paralyzed as long as it came into contact with it during an attack. So in that case, as long as you don't come into contact with him, isn't it okay? So Qi Ling used Long Fist, Air Shock, on Jin He, directly using the vibration to attack him from the air without even touching him. This move had previously defeated the Shrek 7 in one blow. Even if Qi Ling withdrew his strength now, Jin He could not resist it. When the Tyrant Dragon punches out, the person hit will be either injured or dead. When Jin He fell straight back and looked at the roof with confused eyes, the last thought that appeared in his mind was, what kind of perverted monster is this? Can anyone really defeat him? Afterwards, Jin He lost his consciousness and fell into a coma. The referee also announced Qi Ling's victory at this time. On the 13th day of the Fighting Spirit Field, the Iron Fighting Spirit Qi Ling fights against the Golden Fighting Spirit Jin He, and Qi Ling wins. As soon as the result was announced, the audience seemed to explode, because a newcomer like Qi Ling actually killed the popular player in the big soul fighting arena, Jindo Soul Jin He. How could this not be surprising? Surprise. After coming down from the ring, Qi Ling naturally received a warm welcome from everyone. Everyone who was a little nervous at first became excited after watching Qi Ling's game, and they wished that he would be the next one to compete. "Brother Qi, you are so awesome." Xiaowu hugged Qi Ling and said, "That Thunder Tiger was so fierce, but you actually killed him so easily. It's so awesome." Ma Hongjun also laughed and said, "Haha, it seems that this golden fighting spirit is not very good. I thought it was so powerful. It's not like us who have to be beaten by the boss. You pighead, you still have the nerve to talk about it after being beaten." Ning Rongrong rolled her eyes at Ma Hongjun and said, "Why am I embarrassed to say it? I was hung up and beaten by Boss Qi, and Jin Duhun was also hung up and beaten by Boss Qi. Rounding it all off, it means that Jin Duhun and I are about the same," Ma Hongjun said shamelessly. After everyone heard Ma Hongjun's fallacy, they were immediately shocked by him. Dai Mubai said angrily, "Then if you are beaten with a titled Duluo, do you dare to say that you are equal to a titled Duluo?" "Well, that's still a bit different." Ma Hongjun thought for a while, but still didn't dare to brag so much. "Okay, stop messing around." Master Yu Shaogang said to everyone at this time, "Qi Ling has given you a good start. You just need to know that although your actual combat experience is not as good as these veterans, in terms of talent, every one of you is worse than them. Now you can form your own groups and participate in the spirit battle. Before today's team competition begins, try to end everyone's competition." Tang San and Xiao Wu had already formed the 3-5 combination before, and Qi Lingye and Ning Rongrong formed the Qi Le Rongrong combination and were ready to participate in the competition at any time. As for the remaining people, Ma Hongjun and Dai Mubai can be said to have the same affinity. The two of them were old friends in the Red Light District, so together they formed their own White Horse combination. When Oscar saw it, he and Zhu Zuqing were the only ones left, so he had no choice but to shamelessly step forward and say, "Zuqing, look at us." "Okay," Zhu Zuqing said calmly, without any hesitation. After all, this was the only choice she had left. "Really? Great, then what should our group be called?" "Let me think about it, Zhu Zuqing and Oscar, let's call it." Oscar excitedly wanted to give their group a name. "I'm not interested in this, just make your decision," Zhu Zuqing said coldly. It was boring to win the Oscar, but they didn't care too much. After all, they had already experienced Zhu Zuqing's character. After signing up, Tang San and Xiao Wu soon met their opponents, a pair of soul masters called the cat and mouse combination. They had won many victories before and had a certain level of strength. Everyone originally planned to cheer for Tang San and Xiao Wu, but what they didn't expect was that the game information released later included people from Shrek, and they were two teams. On the 13th day of the Soul Fighting Arena, the third 2-on-2 match will be between the White Horse team and the Qi Lirongrong team. Please go to the preparation area to prepare. Everyone was stunned when they saw this battle information. Although they had long thought that they might be arranged as opponents, they didn't expect that this moment would come so quickly. It's over. Ma Hongjun suddenly screamed, "Oh heaven and earth, why are you so unfair to me? Why do you have to let me lose in my first battle?" Dai Mubai said calmly, "Fat man, don't scream so miserable, just compete with all your strength." "Boss Dai, if we compete with all our strength, can we beat Boss Qi?" Ma Hongjun said miserably. "No," Dai Mubai said firmly, "but you can lose with more dignity. In any case, this is the first civil war between the Shrek duo. No matter how unwilling Ma Hongjun is, he must accept the arrangement of the Great Soul Fighting Arena." When the two sides walked to the preparation area respectively, Qiling suddenly smiled and said to Ning Rongrong, "Rongrong, now you can finally achieve your goal. We can legitimately beat Dai Mubai." Ning Rongrong was stunned for a moment, then remembered after a while that she had indeed asked Qiling before, and as long as he could help her teach Dai Mubai a lesson, she would agree to it no matter the cost. At that time, Qiling's condition for Ning Rongrong was to let her earn 100 gold soul coins on her own. After such a long time, Ning Rongrong no longer had the grudge she had at the beginning, and she no longer disliked Dai Mubai so much. She now also knew how annoying her original behavior was. "Forget it, Qiling, I no longer hate Dai Mubai." Ning Rongrong said, "I did something wrong at the beginning, but now I don't care about it." "How can that be done? I always keep my word and never break my promise," Qiling said with a smile. "Besides, we have to compete anyway. How can we respect our opponents if we don't show our true strength?" Ning Rongrong couldn't help laughing and said, "You are full of bad ideas." So, when the two sides walked onto the ring respectively, Ma Hongjun almost fell to his knees when he saw Qiling summoning the Dragon Emperor with full momentum, and then Ning Rongrong added status to him. "Boss Qi, don't play like this. Someone will be killed," Ma Hongjun said on the verge of tears. "How come, Fatty, you and Mubai work together, one close, one far, one offensive, one defensive? What a perfect combination. How can I not try my best?" Qiling said with a smile. After listening to Qiling's words, Ma Hongjun became even more desperate. He didn't know who was going to win against the seven of them. How could Qiling say this with all his strength? So the result of this game was very simple and easy to understand. Ma Hongjun and Dai Mubai felt like they were back in the special training period, thinking about how to survive under Qiling's hands every day. Of course, Qiling wouldn't be really cruel, he would just let the two of them suffer a little to make Ning Rongrong happy. After all, they still had a team battle to fight today, and Qiling couldn't cripple the main force of the team. On the 13th day of the Soul Fighting Arena, in the third 2-on-2 match, the White Horse combination faced off against Qi Lirongrong's combination, and Qi Lirongrong's combination won. After the host announced the results of the competition, Ma Hongjun and Dai Mubai felt not a pity, but a kind of relief. They finally escaped from Qiling's hands. The competition between Xiao Wu and Tang San had ended at this time. For the cat and mouse pairing, the two had successfully won, which was a good start. But just when everyone was happy with each other, an accident happened. The combination of Zhu Zuqing and Oscar had also competed before, but now they fell into a hard fight. Zhu Zuqing's strength is not bad. After all, what she learned from Qiling is enough to give her the power to fight in front of the Soul Master. She is already the top master in the realm of great Soul Masters. But when forming a team, they made a fatal mistake, that is, Oscar's level had reached level 31, so their team had to face Soul Lord level opponents. If the opponent is alone, Zhu Zuqing is still sure to win, but when the opponent is two Soul Masters, and they are a duo that cooperates tacitly, the strength gap between the two sides is too obvious. Everyone in Shrek hurried to the spirit fighting arena where Zhu Zuqing and Oscar were, and saw the Master and Flender standing anxiously under the ring with expressions of regret on their faces. It's all thanks to me. I actually forgot to consider the combination of Zhu Zuqing and the others, so Zhu Zuqing had to face the attack of 2 soul masters. The master blamed himself. But it is useless to talk about it now. Once a 2-on-2 spirit fight begins, it will not stop unless one party admits defeat. Logically speaking, facing such a disparity in strength, anyone would choose to admit defeat, but now it is Zhu Zuqing who is in the ring. For her, as long as there is still hope of winning, she will not admit defeat even if she dies. So from the beginning, Zhu Zuqing fought very hard, all in order to prevent the opponent from taking care of Oscar and thus keep the auxiliary soul master on his side. Relying on Oscar's support, Zhu Zuqing, a great soul master of the agility attack system, withstood the attacks of 2 soul masters. One can imagine the pressure involved. At the end of the game, it is no longer a competition of who is stronger, but a competition of whose willpower is more tenacious. The audience was moved by Zhu Zuqing's firm will and began to shout her name. This battle ended in victory for Zhu Zuqing and Oscar, but the winner's injuries were far more serious than those of the loser. Zhu Zuqing, who was seriously injured, might collapse at any time. At this time, she had no extra energy to think about anything else. She could only rely on her own instinct and walk towards the audience amid the roar of the audience. Suddenly, Zhu Zuqing's foot was tripped by a gap in the ring, and he fell uncontrollably to the ground. Just as she was about to fall, Qiling suddenly appeared beside her and picked her up. "Well done, Zhu Qing, you impressed all of us," Qiling said to Zhu Zuqing. The other people from Shrek also gathered around at this time, and Xiaowu said excitedly, "Zhu Qing, you are so amazing. You can actually win against 2 soul lords, you are so strong." Zhu Zuqing reluctantly moved her lips. She wanted to say something, but couldn't. In order to win this difficult victory, she had exhausted all her strength. "Okay, let's disperse first," Qiling said, slowly inputting his true dragon energy into Zhu Zuqing's body to help her relieve her injuries. "What Zuqing needs now is treatment and rest. If you have anything to say, we'll talk about it later." After Zhu Zuqing was arranged, everyone in Shrek got together again. Due to Zhu Zuqing's condition, he is no longer able to participate in today's game, and even subsequent games will be affected. However, Shrek still has a team battle to fight today. What should we do? If Zhu Zuqing is not here, don't we have one less person? How are we going to fight? Ma Hongjun said with a frown, "I have already lost 1 game today, can't I even win the team competition?" At this moment, Qiling said to the master, "Master, let me participate in today's team battle." The master thought for a while, nodded and said, "Well, that's all." Ma Hongjun, who was originally looking sad, suddenly became happy after hearing the news. He hugged Oscar and cheered. "Great, we're saved now," the two shouted happily. "Don't be too happy, fatty, Oscar," Qiling continued, "although I will participate in the competition with you, you must also fight hard. I will not take action unless it is absolutely necessary. Of course, if I feel that any of you are slacking off and not trying your best, you are welcome to attend the personal tutoring class organized by teacher Qiling after you return to school." Ma Hongjun and Oscar suddenly became excited and said passionately, "Boss Qi, don't worry, we will go all out and fight to the end." "Okay, in that case, then you all go to the team battle lounge and prepare for the team battle," the master said. "Because you signed up late, you are likely to be arranged to a later time." After several people came to the lounge, they did not go to watch the game, because everyone had experienced at least 1 game, so everyone ate Oscar's sausages and recovered their soul power. At this time, everyone in Shrek all wore masks and sat quietly in a corner of the lounge, but even so, they attracted a lot of people's attention. And there was another strange situation. When all the soul masters passed by, they couldn't help but bypass Qiling's position, wishing to stay away from him. Qiling, who had always been kind and easygoing, could not tell from his expression at this time, but his whole body exuded an aura that made people stay away from him instinctively. "Hey, fatty, tell me, Boss Qi is not in a good mood because Zhu Zuqing was injured?" Oscar asked Ma Hongjun in a low voice. Ma Hongjun said matter-of-factly, "That's for sure. Even a fool can see this. Those who compete with us today will be in trouble. If Boss Qi takes action, I won't beat them to death." Dai Mubai on the side and said, you two should worry about yourselves. Since Qi Ling is in a bad mood, I don't need to tell you what the consequences will be if you accept Qi Ling's private tutoring today, right? Quote. Oscar and Ma Hongjun looked at each other and saw the same message in each other's eyes. If you don't want to die, just fight in the ring. While several people were resting, a tall man over 2 meters tall and extremely muscular suddenly walked towards them with a malicious smile on his face. It was obvious that he was not passing by chance. Hey, you bunch of hidden brats, what are you doing hiding here? Are you scared? Don't you dare go out to watch the game. The big man said with a contemptuous smile. Also, where is your little girl with big breasts? I think she has a good figure, so I asked her to come out and accompany me. Upon hearing this, everyone in Shrek realized that this man was clearly looking for trouble. The grumpy Dai Mubai shouted angrily, "Get out! This is not the place for you to be arrogant. Seeking death." The big man opened his fierce eyes and suddenly struck out unexpectedly, slapping Dai Mubai on the head with his right hand. Dai Mubai was unprepared and did not expect that he would suddenly attack. In his hasty defense, he was naturally at a disadvantage. Not only was he hit his head with his hand, but he also took 2 steps back. Seeing that his attack was successful, the big man sneered and was about to take advantage of the victory, but his whole body suddenly stagnated and he was unable to move. If you dare to take another step forward, you will die. Qi Ling glanced at the big man coldly and said lightly. The big man boasted that he had experienced hundreds of battles, and he did not look down upon even the most ferocious beasts. But when Qi Ling glanced at him coldly, he felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar and did not dare to move even half a step. At this moment, Director Ao of the Great Soul Fighting Arena discovered what was going on here and stepped forward to stop the strong man. Everyone in Shrek also knew that this strong man was their opponent in the next match. The captain of the Mad Battle team was Kwang. Rhinoceros. Kwangshi glanced at Qi Ling with great fear, and left without saying anything. Manager Ao, who came to dissuade him, was surprised that this crazy rhinoceros had changed his temper today and left so obediently, but he still warned everyone in Shrek to be careful about this crazy rhinoceros and their crazy fighting team. Don't underestimate Team Madness. All of them are soul masters above level 35. They also have strong offensive capabilities, and they have achieved 7 consecutive victories as of today. Director Ao said. Even among all Soul Lord level teams, the strength of the Crazy Battle team is outstanding. If you think you are not strong enough, you should admit defeat as soon as possible. If the Crazy Battle team takes action, you will either die or be injured. After Director Ao said this, he turned around and left. At this time, Ma Hongjun said with disdain, "What a crazy team, I want to see how powerful they are." Don't be careless. Team Madness is not weak and is a formidable enemy. Qi Ling said, "You guys, just do your best." After the previous spirit battles were over, it was finally Shrek's team's turn to appear. After a long rest, everyone in Shrek had recovered their physical strength and looked high-spirited. As the players from both sides entered the scene, everyone in Shrek also saw all the members of the Mad Battle team. Behind the muscular Mad Rhino, there were the 4 members of their team, the sheep and the monkey, as well as a charming woman, and an age-old a rather large middle-aged man. Everyone in Shrek was sizing up Team Crazy, and Team Crazy was naturally sizing them up. When the woman saw Qi Ling walking in the front, her eyes lit up and she said to Kwangshi, "Kangxi, he is the person you were talking about. It doesn't look that scary." Kwangshi glanced at Qi Ling, then immediately withdrew his gaze and said, "Don't be fooled by his appearance, this person will only be more terrifying than what I said." "Haha, I think you were scared out of your wits. How could such a cute little brother be so powerful?" The charming woman licked her lips, as if she had some special thoughts about Qi Ling. But when all is said and done, Team Mad Sentai put on the most serious posture when facing Shrek, with the alluring woman in the middle and Mad Rhino standing at the front, forming a formation that looked like a cone. After setting up their own formation, Team Madness began to wait for Shrek to set up his own formation to start the game. But what surprised them was that Qi Ling actually walked out of Shrek's formation and came to the side. Wow! Qi Ling took out a deck chair from somewhere and placed it on the edge of the ring. Then he drew a circle under his feet and lay down on the chair. According to the rules, any props are allowed to be used in the competition, so Qi Ling did not violate the rules of the Great Spirit Arena. But from the opening of the Great Soul Fighting Arena until now, no one has ever lied down and rested during the game. Seeing Qi Ling's strange behavior, the members of the Mad Battle team were dumbfounded, but they also understood what Qi Ling meant. He was here to watch the battle this time, but as long as anyone dared to step into this circle, he would take action to deal with it. Others he won't care. One less enemy is naturally a good thing, but the presence of Qi Ling will undoubtedly cause huge psychological pressure on the Mad Sentai team. Guangxi and the charming woman are also wondering, could this be Qi Ling's purpose? But in any case, the battle between the Mad Battle team and Shrek began like this. With the blessing of Ning Rongrong's 7 treasures glazed tower, Dai Mubai stepped forward to resist the Mad Rhino, and the two were evenly matched in terms of strength. But because there was one less person and Shrek had 2 auxiliary soul masters, they fell into a passive situation for a while and were completely suppressed by the Mad Warriors. If it weren't for Tang San's abnormal control ability and the Tang sect's many methods, I'm afraid Shrek wouldn't have been able to hold on long ago, but even so, he could only maintain the situation without losing. Seeing that the situation was great, the Mad Warriors couldn't help but feel happy. The charming woman immediately sent one of the 2 goats to sneak attack Ning Rongrong and Oscar. The others wanted to support, but they were all tightly entangled by the other members of the Mad Sentai, unable to escape. They could only watch one of the 2 sheep attack the 2 of them. We succeeded. The members of the Mad Fighting team couldn't help but cheer in their hearts. As long as they could get rid of Ning Rongrong, the assistant, then the Shrek team would be vulnerable. They could easily repel several people. But just when the Sheep Soul Master launched the attack with a proud look on his face, there was a sudden bang, and he was knocked far away. His whole body was embedded in the wall, unable to move. The members of the 2 teams who were fighting fiercely stopped at this time, maintaining a strange tacit understanding. They didn't know what happened. Why did the Sheep Soul Master suddenly fly out? It wasn't until Qi Ling patted his trouser legs and lay down again that they realized that it was Qi Ling who had taken action and killed the Sheep Soul Master. But isn't he not planning to take action? What are you looking at? Keep fighting. Seeing everyone staring at him, Qi Ling couldn't help but said, I don't want to take action either. But there is nothing I can do, this guy has crossed the line. Everyone looked at the place where Qi Ling said he crossed the line, and found that it was just the Sheep Spirit Master who slightly stepped on the line drawn by Qi Ling, and was blown away by him. Guangxi and the charming woman looked ugly for a while, not only because of the fact that the Sheep Soul Master was killed by Qi Ling, but more importantly, Qi Ling showed amazing power, which was not what this level should have at all. Referee, I protest. Guangxi suddenly raised his hand and said, did this guy really not lie about his strength? Where can I find a soul master who just beats another soul master away without using his martial soul? The referee checked the information in his hand and said, the protest is invalid. The undefeated demon player of the Shrek 7 Monsters team is indeed a level 31 soul master. There is no doubt about it. Guangxi was suddenly speechless. Since the Great Soul Fighting Arena said this, it must be correct. In this case, there is only one explanation, this kid is too strong. The charming woman said calmly, Guangxi, don't worry, none of us can be his opponent one-on-one, but if we go crazy and besiege him together, then there is still a glimmer of hope. After hearing this, Guangxi nodded and said, it seems that's the only way. But before that, we must eliminate these people first. Although the Shrek 7 Devils had gained a certain advantage under Tang San's tactics, the huge gap in soul power made it impossible for them to expand this advantage. More importantly, if the Shrek 7 monsters are missing Zhu Zuqing, they are missing the sharpest knife, unable to deal a fatal blow to the opponent. But Tang San's Tang Sect stunt still worked wonders at this moment. He withstood the attack pressure of 3 opponents, and successfully used blue-silver grass to send Xiao Wu to the opponent's rear position, directly targeting their auxiliary souls division. Hey, uncle, I'm sorry, you go down first, Xiao Wu said, throwing the auxiliary soul master off the ring. But the soul master knew that he was not immune, so he released his soul skill at the last moment. A silver ripple came from his wishful disc and poured into the bodies of several other people. This is the most powerful skill of this auxiliary soul master, Madness. After using it, everyone will enter the madness effect for 3 minutes, lose the feeling of pain, and enter a state of madness. For a time, the combat power of the Madden team increased greatly, making it almost impossible for everyone in Shrek to resist. As soon as Tang San saw the opponent's state, he immediately judged that their state must not last long, so he fed everyone Oscar's flying mushrooms and flew into the air, intending to wait for the madness of Team Madness to end before making any plans. Originally, Shrek could rely on his flying skills to successfully bring down the Mad Team, and Tang San would finally clean up the mess, but the situation was different now, because after everyone rose into the air, there was still one person left on the ground. That's right, Qi Ling, who was sitting there, naturally became the target of the Mad Fighting Team after everyone else took off. They all roared crazily and surrounded Qi Ling. After seeing this scene, Ma Hongjun, who was flying in the air, couldn't help but said, "Do you think they are so stubborn that they will go to trouble Boss Qi if they can't defeat us?" Tang San thought, it's very possible that they are in an extremely warlike state now, and they are irrational at all, so they don't care who is in front of them. I'm afraid even if they are imprisoned together, they will also fight against each other. Let's fight. Huh, really? Ma Hongjun said in surprise, doesn't that mean we can win without any effort? Ah, that's the truth. Tang San said helplessly, but he always felt that something was wrong. After learning that they would be attacked crazily, everyone was not worried about Qi Ling, but instead felt that victory was in sight. Others would not dare to imagine it. I am afraid that only Qi Ling could be treated like this. Oh ho, you didn't choose to hide, but came towards me instead. Qi Ling, who was lying on the recliner, looked at the Mad Battle team that gradually surrounded him, and couldn't help but said, in that case, let's get closer. Quote, Dragon Emperor. Possessed. The domineering Dragon Emperor came again, and facing Qi Ling, who was possessed by the martial spirit, the mad warriors who had already lost their minds actually stopped and stood in uneasy customs. The Berserker team, which entered a state of madness, actually stagnated when facing their opponents. This was something that was impossible to happen in the past. When the referee saw this scene, he was so surprised that he was speechless. In the auditorium, many spectators came just to watch the Mad Sentai team go berserk. When they saw that they faced an enemy and did not dare to attack, they couldn't help but become furious. What's going on, Team Madness? Are you trying to fake the match? You don't even dare to attack the other party alone, you're too cowardly. Could it be that you bought it and lost, right? If not, you won't be able to go. What are you waiting for? What do you think we bought the tickets to see? Really, if you don't make it, just give up quickly. What a crazy team. I think it's the Turtle team. Refund the ticket, refund it to me as soon as possible. Listening to the audience below booing Team Kwang, Ma Hongjun couldn't help but said, these people are forcing Team Kwang to die. Under the encouragement of the audience, the Berserker team became even more irritable and restless. It was not that they did not want to attack, but when their instincts took over their brains, they could feel how invincible the enemy in front of them was. But Team Madness also knows that if they continue like this until the mad state ends, they will definitely lose, so they might as well give it a try now, maybe there is still a glimmer of hope. So Guangxi was the first to attack Qi Ling. After roaring, he flew up and rushed directly towards Qi Ling with his huge body. It seemed that he wanted to use this impact to knock Qi Ling out of the ring. Qi Ling smiled slightly, stretched out a hand, and blocked the violent impact of the rhinoceros without even moving his body. The huge body gap between the two parties caused a huge visual gap in this scene, and everyone onlookers were extremely surprised. Kangxi, do you think that such a level of impact can be regarded as a rhinoceros? Qi Ling smiled and stretched out his right fist, with a purple soul ring wrapped around it. Then I will show you, what is Longxi. What kind of thing? Qi Ling's second soul ring is a one-horned dragon rhinoceros. Compared with the ordinary rhinoceros like Guangxi, it is naturally countless times more advanced. The second soul skill, Tyrant Dragon Fist. A powerful and heavy punch hit Guang Zai's strongest skull. This is where he is strongest and hardest, and where he can exert his martial soul's power. It is precisely because of this that after Guangxi was hit by Qi Ling's Tyrannosaurus fist, he was only knocked away and fell to the ground. He could even cover his head and scream twice. If it had been anyone else, his brain would have collapsed. The mad rhinoceros was repulsed by a move, but it did not make the other members of the mad team hesitate. For them who are now mad, once activated, their bodies are no longer under their control, and they will only kill instinctively. As a control-type soul master, the charming woman naturally used her soul skills to control the field. She sprayed countless spider threads from her body and wrapped them around Qi Ling. Qi Ling did not avoid the obviously wrong spider silk, but obediently let her wrap herself up tightly, like a silkworm chrysalis. Then the remaining sheep soul master stepped on the ground with both feet, and a violent vibration came, shaking Qi Ling's body into the air. The two monkey soul masters took the opportunity to launch an attack, covering Qi Ling with their sharp claws. All spaces in the body. Bang! With a dull sound, Qi Ling, who was wrapped like a mummy, fell from the air and lay motionless on the ground. Did it succeed? Seeing Qi Ling's lack of reaction, the charming woman thought with a fluke that although Qi Ling was powerful, it was not impossible to defeat him if he was careless. Seeing that Qi Ling fell to the ground without any reaction, everyone's eyes were attracted by the white figure like a silkworm chrysalis, and even Shrek became nervous. But at this time, Qi Ling's voice sounded behind the charming woman. "Where are you looking, little spider?" Hearing Qi Ling's voice, the charming woman felt as if she had fallen into an ice cellar. Her hands and feet felt cold. She wanted to activate her soul skills again to attack Qi Ling behind her, but was stopped by a cold touch on her neck. Qi Ling gently pressed her hand on the charming woman's neck and said, "You'd better not move, otherwise I can't guarantee what will happen." How did you escape?" The charming woman was the only one in the mad team who remained sane. She asked Qi Ling with difficulty. "Secret." Qi Ling laughed. The reason why Qi Ling was able to escape from the coquettish woman's spider web was actually just using his latest ability, called True Dragon Secret Skill, Kong Chan. After using it, it can act like a substitute. Avoid harm. But in the eyes of others who don't know the truth, especially in the eyes of the Quangjin team who are fighting Qi Ling at this time, Qi Ling's move is undoubtedly as incomprehensible as a god, and people don't know how to deal with it. Without the control of the charming woman, the sheep soul master and the two monkey soul masters could only instinctively rush towards Qi Ling. Qi Ling smiled helplessly, stretched out his right fist and said, "Still fighting? Okay, just let me tell you, vibration is not used like this." Belong fist. Sky shock. A strong shock enveloped the three of them instantly, causing them to stop in their frenzied state. Although their consciousness was out of control and they couldn't feel the pain, their bodies still belonged to them after all. As long as Qi Ling caused enough damage to them, of course he could still defeat them. Seeing all her companions fall down, the charming woman felt that her mad state was about to end prematurely, and only fear remained in her heart. "Are you going to give up on your own, or let me help you?" Qi Ling asked. "It seems that you still have a 1,000-year soul skill that you haven't used, right? Do you want to use it and try it again?" "No need, we admit defeat," the charming woman said helplessly. Although her third soul skill was powerful, it was only for ordinary people. In front of Qi Ling, tickling him might not be enough. As the last member of the mad fighting team surrendered, the referee announced Team Shrek's victory, and the 6 people flying in the air slowly landed at this time. "Brother Qi, you are so powerful. You defeated them all by yourself." Xiao Wu was like an octopus, her whole body wrapped around Qi Ling. I wonder if it was due to the influence of her martial spirit. Xiao Wu, it seems that he likes to hang around Qi Ling more and more. "Okay, you girl, come down quickly. How can you behave in public?" Qi Ling helplessly took Xiao Wu off him. Although he also enjoyed this kind of treatment, he saw the playful smiles of others. Even his face can't bear it. "Qi Ling, thank you. If it weren't for you, I would have been injured by now." Ning Rongrong stepped forward and said that the other sheep soul master just now targeted Ning Rongrong. If Qi Ling hadn't taken action, sheep soul master will definitely seriously injure Ning Rongrong. In the eyes of others, this scene was not so pleasant. Ma Hongjun said sourly, "Oh, this is really a drought, a flood. When will I, Ma Hongjun, be so lucky as Boss Qi?" "Ah, fat man, how lucky do you think Brother Qi is?" Xiao Wu asked curiously. "What else could it be? Boss Qi's blessing is naturally the blessing of Qi people." The fat man smiled obscenely and told a riddle with a double entendre. Xiao Wu didn't quite understand this, but Ning Rongrong heard what he meant immediately and couldn't help but blushed, but did not deny anything. Qi Ling looked at Ma Hongjun and said, "Fat man, I think your skin is itchy again. Do you want to come and train alone?" I just think everyone worked hard today, and you were the only one who was cheating and skating. When you go back today, you will come with me for special training. What, Boss Chi? No, I don't want to take you to avenge public and private revenge. Ma Hongjun shouted miserably. Oscar, who was on the side, gloated at this time and said, "You deserve it, you fat man. If you can't speak, don't talk nonsense." What a blessing for Chi people. Have you forgotten that Boss Chi also has Zhu Zuqing? Oscar, I suddenly feel that your performance today is not very good. Chi Ling said, when you go back, you and Ma Hongjun will train together. Then everyone ignored the wailing Oscar and Ma Hongjun, walked off the stage together, and came to the master and Flender. At this time, the audience who were originally shouting the name of the Mad Sentai also began to shout the title of Chi Ling's undefeated demon god. After the master highly praised everyone's performance today, he rarely said that today is a day worth celebrating and he should go have a drink. So everyone went to the hotel together. Except for the injured Zhu Zuqing, everyone came and got drunk so much that the hotel almost ran out of stock. But drinking capacity cannot be trained, so the ones left in the end are still Ning Rongrong and Chi Ling, who have the best drinking capacity. The first day of soul fighting ended like this. On the second day, under Chi Ling's careful care and treatment, Zhu Zuqing had almost recovered, so she refused the master's request to let her rest for a day and chose to participate in the soul fighting. In that case, Zhu Zuqing, you can continue to participate in the soul fighting. The master said, it's just that your team configuration needs to be adjusted. Oscar and Chi Ling are both in the Soul Master realm, and Oscar is not suitable for the second team of two fighting souls, so Oscar and Chi Ling will form a team. Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zuqing, you two have formed a new team. Your soul power is already considered top-notch in the realm of great soul masters. Even Zhu Zuqing can handle it alone. So a new combination was born. After Oscar heard that he was going to team up with Chi Ling, he suddenly felt like his spring had come, and he was about to start the unlimited win mode. Boss Chi, you must protect me, Oscar said with a wink at Chi Ling. With his pretty face, he really suited the preferences of some people. But for a straight man like Chi Ling, he wanted to spit out his last night's meal. He said viciously, if you don't speak up, I will be the first one to beat you. So in the next month, everyone in Shrek started a crazy journey to increase their points, and they basically won consecutively, and their points increased at an alarming rate. Especially in the team fighting spirit, although Chi Ling has not played again since then, the Shrek 7 Devils with a complete lineup are enough to deal with the opponents here, and have achieved an astonishing result of winning 27 games. In the 2-on-2 match, they also had an impressive record. The teams of Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zuqing, as well as Chi Ling and Oscar, all achieved complete victories. As for the 3-5 combination of Tang San and Xiao Wu, they unfortunately lost one game and achieved a score of 26 wins and 1 loss. As for the match they lost, there was nothing they could do, because what they encountered was the combination of Chi Ling and Oscar. In the singles competition, everyone was even more popular. Tang San, Chi Ling, and Zhu Zuqing all achieved astonishing results of 27 consecutive victories. The emergence of so many super powerful players at the same time has never happened in the past history of the Great Soul Fighting Arena. In addition, they are from the same team, and the Shrek team suddenly became the hottest topic in the Great Soul Fighting Arena. In addition, the most important point is that perhaps the battles during this period of time have stimulated everyone's potential. The soul power of Zhu Zuqing, Dai Mubai, Ma Hongjun, and Ning Rongrong has all risen by 1 level. The increase in soul power of the other 3 people is basically a matter of course, because after such a long period of practice, they should have upgraded long ago. But Zhu Zuqing actually advanced to another level, which was extremely surprising. In total, she had improved her soul power by 3 levels in 4 months, and the speed of progress was incredible. Only Zhu Zuqing knew that this was all thanks to Chi Ling's guidance. After the soul fighting every day, Zhu Zuqing would go to Chi Ling to study. This has basically become a required course for her. This happened every day. No matter how well Zhu Zuqing kept the secret, there were times when the fire could not be contained. Chi Ling had already felt that Ning Rongrong, the most sensitive one, seemed to have noticed the relationship between the two. In any case, now that Zhu Zuqing's level has reached level 30, what needs to be done is to find a suitable soul ring for her to allow her to break through to the Soul Master realm. Now Zhu Zuqing, because of her cultivation of 9 Nether Sacred Heart technique, and Xuanming Divine Palm, her real combat power is no weaker than that of ordinary soul masters. When she gets the soul ring again, she will definitely become the most powerful among Shrek. A sharp knife. Okay, since Zhu Zuqing needs to obtain the soul ring, let's suspend the second stage of training and help Zhu Zuqing hunt for the soul ring first. Yu Xiaogang said to everyone in Shrek Academy. Ding dong. It is detected that Zhu Zuqing has reached soul power level 30. Please host to choose from the following options. Option 1. Go to the Stardow Forest with Shrek and everyone to choose a soul ring for Zhu Zuqing, and keep Zhu Zuqing's soul ring selection the same as before. Get the reward. Zhu Zuqing's soul power level +1, a level 4 soul guide, ordinary quality 1 herbal medicine. Option 2. Go to the Star Forest with Zhu Zuqing to choose a soul ring for Zhu Zuqing, and change Zhu Zuqing's soul ring selection to choose a more suitable soul ring for her. Get rewards. Zhu Zuqing's favorability +10%, martial soul affinity the speed increased to 100%, and Zhu Zuqing's martial soul fusion skill system was activated. Seeing the options given to him by the system, Qi-Ling couldn't help but shout in his heart, finally waiting for Zhu Zuqing's martial soul fusion skill to be activated. Long before, when Qi-Ling checked the attribute of martial soul affinity, he had speculated whether he would be able to activate the martial soul fusion skill with Zhu Zuqing when the affinity of the martial soul reached a certain level. Now, Qi-Ling finally confirmed his suspicion. With the help of the system, the affinity between Qi-Ling's martial spirit and Zhu Zuqing's martial spirit has reached 100%. This means that the martial souls of the two people have reached a perfect level of compatibility. Not only can they complement each other, but they can also achieve barrier-free communication of soul power and meet the conditions for using martial soul fusion skills. Without hesitation, Qi-Ling immediately chose the second option. Even if there were only 2 of him, he was confident that he could obtain a suitable soul ring for Zhu Zuqing. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for choosing option 2. Go to the Star Forest with Zhu Zuqing and choose a more suitable soul ring for her. Get the reward. Zhu Zuqing's favorability +10%, martial soul affinity increased to 100%, Zhu Zuqing's martial arts the soul fusion skill system is activated. Close black lens bracket. Master, if we just want to obtain the soul ring for Zhu Zuqing, we don't need to go together. I can just take her with me. Qi-Ling said at this time, everyone is exhausted from fighting these days. It's better for everyone to take care of themselves, have a rest. And if it's just Zhu Zuqing and I, we can go faster and try to leave early and come back early so as not to delay your subsequent training, Master. When Flanders heard that only Qi-Ling and Zhu Zuqing were going, he couldn't help but worry, just the 2 of you. This is too dangerous. You should let me or teacher Zhao accompany you. No, Dean, let us go hunting for the soul ring this time. Qi-Ling refused. We will not be able to grow if we hide under your protection forever, so let us solve these problems on our own. Bar. The master also nodded and said, Qi-Ling, if you ask like this, you must have your own considerations, right? Anyway, with your knowledge, you can definitely help Zhu Zuqing choose the most suitable soul ring for her. You can go without worry, but remember to go early. Come back early, the rest of the training won't be possible without you. No problem, don't worry, Master. Qi-Ling promised. We promise to come back in 2 days at most. So Qi-Ling and Zhu Zuqing bid farewell to the Shrek people for the time being and prepared to go to the Stardow Forest. When the 2 came to the school gate, Qi-Ling said playfully, Zuqing, do you want to compete with me? Compared to what? Zhu Zuqing asked curiously. It's very simple, just compare what you are best at. Qi-Ling smiled, let's compare speed. It's a full 500 miles from here to the Stardow Forest. How about we see who reaches the outskirts of the Stardow Forest first? Zhu Zuqing said calmly. Okay, what do you want to bet on? If I lose, then I will teach you a very powerful skill, powerful enough for you to defeat that golden fighting spirit, Jin He. Qi-Ling said with a smile, how about it, is it a high-impact bet? Quote. Zhu Zuqing's eyes widened when she heard Qi-Ling's words. She naturally knew Jin He's strength. If she wanted to catch up with him, she would probably have to work hard for at least a year. But Qi Ling actually said that he had a way to make himself stronger in a short time, even strong enough to defeat Jin He. Isn't this what Zhu Zuqing is pursuing? For her, the stakes couldn't be higher. Are you telling the truth? Do you really have a way for me to defeat Jin He? Zhu Zuqing was so excited that there was even a sense of anxiety in his tone. Of course it's true. When have I ever lied to you? Qi Ling said with a smile. It's just that, Zuqing, you have to pay a bet of corresponding value. What kind of bet do you think is worthy of this? What are the conditions? Looking at Qi Ling, who was smiling like a fox, Zhu Zuqing suddenly felt like he had been fooled, but he had to fall for this trick. Zhu Zuqing hesitated, not knowing what to do. He really couldn't come up with conditions of corresponding value to make this bet with Qi Ling. Ha ha ha, Zuqing, if you really can't think of it, how about I help you think of it? Qi Ling suggested. Okay, Zhu Zuqing said directly. In fact, she also planned to directly agree to any request from Qi Ling, which would be more convenient. Okay, if Zuqing loses, how about you change into a maid outfit and be a maid for a week? Qi Ling took the opportunity to reveal his conspiracy. This was something he had planned in his mind for a long time. Upon hearing Qi Ling's request, Zhu Zuqing's face immediately turned red. Only Qi Ling would make such an improper request. Yes, Zhu Zuqing said silently, because the conditions Qi Ling mentioned were really attractive, and she wanted to achieve them no matter what. In order to become stronger, she was not even afraid of death. What was the point of just being a maid for a few days? What's more, if she works as a maid for Qi Ling, she doesn't feel disgusted at all. Okay, then you have to pay attention, the competition. Qi Ling smirked and suddenly started running without permission. It's begun. Zhu Zuqing was stunned when she saw Qi Ling running out. She didn't expect that Qi Ling would act like a child and act so shamelessly. If she told everyone in Shrek, who would believe that their boss Qi was such a person? Without any time to hesitate, Zhu Zuqing immediately chased after Qi Ling, running at full speed towards the Star Forest. The figures of the two people seemed to turn into two afterimages as they moved at high speed. Passers-by on the roadside only felt as if two gusts of wind were blowing by, and they could not see clearly at all. Compared with when Shrek's group marched before, not only did the two of them make great progress in strength, but more importantly, they didn't have to consider the pace of others, especially Oscar and Ning Rongrong, who were auxiliary soul masters. How many times faster? In less than a morning, the two of them had traveled more than half the distance and were about to arrive at the town where they had stayed overnight. According to this estimate, after lunch, they would arrive at the Stardow Forest in the afternoon. If they were lucky, they would be able to return to Shrek Academy tomorrow. Of course, these are all based on the two being lucky enough to quickly find a soul beast suitable for Zhu Zuqing. Otherwise, it may take 3 to 5 days. Let's get here first. Let's have something to eat here first and then compete in the afternoon. After arriving in the town, Qi Ling said with a smile, as of now, we can be considered tied. Although Qi Ling said it was a tie, Zhu Zuqing actually knew full well that she lost the match this morning. Although the speed of the two people is indeed about the same, Zhu Zuqing is an agility attack type soul master, and he is the most outstanding speed type martial spirit. Even the soul master level agility attack type soul master, there are few agility attack type soul masters who can compare with her. And later on, Zhu Zuqing's soul power obviously couldn't keep up, because protracted fighting was not what she was good at. Even though she had a tenacious will, the reduction of soul power was not based on human will. When Qi Ling discovered this, she began to support Zhu Zuqing through her true dragon energy, which allowed her to persevere. It was only then that Zhu Zuqing discovered that Qi Ling had not used all his strength. The two of them came to the hotel where Shrek and everyone stayed last time. Although there were many people in the hotel at this time, luckily the table where they had dinner last time happened to be still empty. Haha, this is really God's will. Zuqing, let's sit here. Qi Ling sat down on the table carelessly, and then ordered wine and food to the waiter. Zhu Zuqing had no objection to this. For her, as long as she could fill her stomach, it didn't matter what she ate. After waiting for a while, a sumptuous meal was put on the table. Qi Ling was about to feast when 3 big men suddenly walked in from outside the door, making a lot of noise and looking around. Boss, Is there any room left? Hurry up and give me some good wine and food. I'm almost starving. One of the bald men shouted. The shop owner came up to us with a smile and said, "Please come in, please. There are plenty of seats. Please come with me." "No need." The other scarred face suddenly flashed in his eyes and said with a lewd smile, "We will find a place by ourselves." Then the scarred face pointed at Zhu Zuqing towards the two of them, and the eyes of the three of them suddenly emitted the same light. When Qi Ling saw this scene, he smiled and said to Zhu Zuqing, "Look, here comes the troublemaker, girl. It's all because you are so pretty." Zhu Zuqing looked confused, not knowing what Qi Ling meant, but then the three big men walked straight towards her and sat down unceremoniously. "Hey, I've never seen such a hot girl. Come here, pour some wine for me and play with the men," the bald man said while picking up a glass of wine unceremoniously. Zhu Zuqing frowned and was about to get angry. Qi Ling said first, "Guys, I'm sorry, we don't have the habit of sharing tables with others. You'd better find another place." Several big men looked at each other and suddenly laughed loudly. The scarred man said to Qi Ling with a look of disbelief, "Boy, do you know who you are talking to? Who doesn't know who we are on the outskirts of the Stardow Forest? The famous names of the three Feng brothers." The bald man said with an air of dignity, "I don't know the names of our three brothers, so I should die to apologize. But the three of us are kind-hearted, so I will spare you today. Put down all the valuable things you have on you, let this little lady accompany us gentlemen, and then get out." Qi Ling almost laughed out loud at the three of them. He had already seen with his fiery eyes that the bald man with the highest strength among the three was already at the 40-level soul sect level. The other two were only 3 levels. Just an 18th level soul master. This kind of strength may be enough to be seen outside the forest, and it can even bully the old, weak, sick and disabled, but for Qi Ling, that is a completely different matter. The Bu trio he had solved before had no strength. Even stronger. "I really can't help it. Just think of it as exercise before meals and move your body," Qi Ling said, standing up, intending to let these ungrateful, big brothers, enjoy the feeling of being a trapeze artist. But just when Qi Ling was about to take action, a Zhongjung deep voice suddenly sounded, "Stop. You rogues, didn't you see that this girl is so unhappy?" The speaker was a young man dressed in white, holding a green sword in his hand, looking upright, like a righteous knight. The three big men obviously knew this young man, and the bald man said with a fearful expression, "Li Shuang, please stop meddling in other people's business, otherwise we won't let you go." The man known as Li Shuang said righteously, "Three Bei Feng brothers, you guys who are full of evildoers, do you think that I will join in the evil with you? Today I will do justice for heaven and punish you evildoers." Quote. Not to be outdone, the bald man said, "HMPH, okay, let us three brothers come and learn how powerful you, the knight in white, Li Shuang, is with this indestructible green sword in your hand." Seeing the two sides at war, Zhu Zuqing asked Qi Ling, "Qi Ling, do we need to help that person?" Qi Ling looked at Zhu Zuqing with interest and said, "What? Zuqing, you want to help that Li Shuang? Why?" "Because he helped us, and he was 1 against 3, so this is a bit unfair," Zhu Zuqing said matter-of-factly. "Haha, Zuqing, you are so innocent and cute." Qi Ling couldn't help but laugh. "I know that you hate evil by nature and can't stand any injustice, but you have to know that sometimes the truth of the matter is not you." As seen. The voices of Qi Ling and Zhu Zuqing were controlled so that only the two of them could hear them, so Qi Ling was not worried about being heard by those people. After Zhu Zuqing heard Qi Ling's words, he wondered, what does this mean? "It's nothing, you will know soon," Qi Ling said. "If you cannot see through the essence of things, you may do bad things with good intentions and even cause irreparable consequences. Moreover, how do you know that this Li Shuang can't win against 3 of them? I think he has extraordinary martial arts. Although he is just an ordinary level 44 soul sect, he might be able to defeat the 3 of them easily." Quote. The situation of the 4-person battle was just as Qi Ling said. Li Shuang's martial spirit was just an ordinary green sword, but at this time it showed great power and easily defeated the 3 Baifeng brothers. "Remember, Li Shuang, we have written down today's grudge, and we will make you look good another day." The bald man ran away while saying harsh words to Li Shuang, "I will definitely come back. HMPH. Such cowardly people are really vulnerable. Li Shuang posed and said sanctimoniously, "You must run fast, otherwise, Li will definitely cut off your heads." "Girl, are you not scared?" After driving away the three Bei Feng brothers, Li Shuang immediately stepped forward to care about Zhu Zuqingdao eagerly, as if he had been her good friend for many years. But his idea was miscalculated. Zhu Zuqing was not such an easy person to get along with. She coldly rejected Li Shuang's concern. Li Shuang's hand stopped in the air, not knowing what to do. Fortunately, he found himself under the steps immediately. Ha ha ha, it seems that this girl was frightened. It's no wonder. Everyone would be scared if something like this happened. By the way, I think you two came here alone to hunt for soul rings, right? Li Shuang turned to say, Li knows a little bit about the Star Doe forest. Why don't we go together? How about taking care of me? When Zhu Zuqing faced Li Shuang's invitation, he did not express his attitude. Instead, he looked at Qi Ling. The meaning was very clear that Qi Ling had the final say in everything about her. Seeing this scene, Li Shuang's expression changed slightly, but he immediately returned to normal. He turned to Qi Ling and said what he just said again. Okay, it's what we asked for. We just need a guide like Brother Li who is loyal, courageous, and chivalrous. Qi Ling went against what he just said and said to Li Shuang enthusiastically, Brother Li, there are people like you. Now, we feel more at ease. Zhu Zuqing felt extremely puzzled after hearing Qi Ling's words, but Qi Ling quietly gestured to her to signal her not to speak and to do everything as Qi Ling said. So the two of them set off towards the Star Forest together with Li Shuang. Along the way, Li Shuang tried his best to tell Zhu Zuqing what he had seen and heard, hoping to attract his attention. But what disappointed him was that Zhu Zuqing ignored him again and was not very interested in what he said. Instead, Qi Ling complimented him from time to time so that he would not be so embarrassed. What's the use of talking to me? My target is not you. Li Shuang said sadly in his heart, but on the surface he still pretended to be inscrutable. After arriving at the outskirts of the Star Forest, Li Shuang once again found an opportunity to show off. He used his Qingzi sword to kill every soul beast he saw, regardless of whether they were a threat or not. How about it, Miss Zhu Zuqing? With my protection, you will be much safer along the way, right? Li Shuang said to Zhu Zuqing, feeling good. But who knows, Zhu Zuqing frowned and said, Master said that these soul beasts that are not old enough should not be killed easily, because if the killing is excessive, it will cause a fatal blow to the soul beast. Li Shuang's proud look suddenly froze on his face. He didn't expect that he would do unnecessary things again and make himself miserable. Oh, Zuqing, Brother Li also has good intentions. But Brother Li, these soul beasts are really not worth Brother Li's action. Let's not waste time because of them. Qi Ling smoothed things over again. Li Shuang responded calmly. His face was uncertain, he didn't know what he was planning, and walked at the front without saying a word, but this time, he did not continue to kill those weak souls, beast. Perhaps due to bad luck, the three of them couldn't find a suitable soul beast after searching for a long time. Seeing that night was about to fall, Li Shuang suggested that it would be better to take a break first and wait until dawn before searching again. Qi Ling naturally had no reason to refuse this suggestion. After all, searching at night was indeed much more dangerous and inefficient, because the habits of spirit beasts were the same as those of humans, and most of them stayed at night and emerged during the day. The three of them worked hard for a while and gathered the bonfire. It was already completely dark by this time. Li Shuang raised his head and looked around, as if he was looking for something. Suddenly his eyes fixed, and a strange smile appeared on his face. Brother Qi Ling, why don't we go and look in front to see if there is anything that can be used as dinner? Li Shuang suddenly suggested. As for Miss Zhu Zuqing, just wait for us here. With this bonfire here, presumably ordinary wild beasts won't come close. Zhu Zuqing frowned and was about to express his doubts, but Qi Ling took the initiative and said at this moment, okay, that's what I meant. Zuqing, just wait for us here, Brother Li and I will come as soon as we go. Although Zhu Zuqing was confused, since Qi Ling's decision was made at this time, he must have his own plan, and all he needed to do was to believe in him. So Qi Ling and Li Shuang walked towards the forest together, gradually moving away from the bonfire and Zhu Zuqing. As the two of them went deeper and deeper into the forest, Li Shuang opened his mouth and said to Qi Ling, "Brother Qi Ling, you know, I have a habit, that is, I must get what I like, no matter what means I use. At what cost? Oh, I don't know what you are interested in, Brother Li. Is there anything I need help with?" Qi Ling asked. When Li Shuang heard Qi Ling's inquiry, he stopped and turned to face Qi Ling. On his face, those righteous expressions were gone, replaced by an evil and weird smile. "What I'm interested in is that hot girl," Li Shuang said with a lewd smile. "Really, this is the first time I've seen such a top-notch product with such a great figure and such good looks. No matter what, I want to get her. But unfortunately, all my tried and tested methods in the past didn't work. Even the classic plot of a hero saving a beauty couldn't capture her heart, which gave me a headache. But then I discovered that this problem is actually easy to solve." Li Shuang stared at Qi Ling and said, "As long as I solve you, then that girl will naturally not be able to escape from my grasp. So, little brother Qi Ling, for my happiness, please go to hell." Qi Ling was not surprised at all by Li Shuang's change. It would be better to say that this was exactly what he expected. So he said, "Then, since you are planning to get rid of me, haven't you found some helpers? Are you so confident?" He, of course I have found some helpers, and there are more than one," Li Shuang said, blowing a whistle into the sky, and then there was a noise, and the three Baifeng brothers who had been hostile to him actually appeared together, surrounded Qi Ling. "Ha ha ha, kid, you didn't expect that we are actually in the same group." The bald man laughed proudly. "We just acted in a show before, just to make you relax your vigilance, so that you brought me here, I didn't expect you." "No, I knew it from the beginning," Qi Ling said at this time. "After all, your acting skills are so bad, it's hard for me not to know." Several people suddenly felt speechless. Li Shuang frowned and said, "You knew our purpose from the beginning. Then why did you still?" "It's very simple. You want to use me, and I also want to use you to achieve your goals." Qi Ling said with a smile, "Remember what I said before, most soul beasts are the same as humans, they stay at night and emerge by day." Quote. Li Shuang frowned and said, "Yes, so what? Yes, most of them." Qi Ling continued, "That is to say, there is a small number of soul beasts that are on the contrary, they are existences that lie dormant during the day and emerge at night. Many of these soul beasts are suitable for zuzuqing, but it is difficult to find them unless they are foraging for food." Hearing this, Li Shuang understood what Qi Ling meant, his pupils gradually widened, and he said in disbelief, You mean? Yes, I have sprinkled a kind of spice on you, which can attract soul beasts to a great extent. Qi Ling said with a smile, "I just want to use you as bait to attract those soul beasts." "Damn it, you actually dare to use us," Li Shuang said angrily. "You want to use us as bait? I think you'd better send you to hell first." With that said, Li Shuang waved the green sword in his hand, a purple thousand-year soul ring lit up, and then a green sword energy shot towards Qi Ling. This is Li Shuang's most proud soul skill, Qingzi Sword Qi, which turns the visible sword into invisible sword Qi, which is not only unstoppable, but also greatly increased in power. But when the green sword energy hit Qi Ling, the scene of flying flesh and blood that Li Shuang imagined did not happen. The green sword energy passed through Qi Ling's body without any hindrance, and then Qi Ling's the body also turned into a wisp of shadow and dissipated in the air. True Dragon's secret skill, Empty Cicada. After using secret techniques to escape, Li Shuang and others could no longer find Qi Ling, but more and more strange sounds gradually sounded in the forest around them, and it seemed that many soul beasts were beginning to gather. Several people felt the changes in the surrounding atmosphere and listened to the increasingly dense clattering of leaves. They all became afraid involuntarily. They also knew that Qi Ling was not alarmist. He really used these people as bait. Boss, what should I do? I don't want to be dinner for these beasts," Scarface said in horror. The bald man spat fiercely and said to Li Shuang, "Li Shuang, what do you want to do? We all listened to you, so we did these things." Li Shuang snorted coldly and said, "Don't even think about giving it all back to me. Aren't you also attracted to that girl? What you can do now is of course run away, or are you still waiting here to die?" Altogether, the only solution Li Shuang said was the only one that could be done. Otherwise, if the delay continued, they would be killed. But a few people obviously underestimated the medicine Qi Ling gave them. Just when they were about to leave, several black shadows suddenly rushed toward them and launched a swift attack. Li Shuang and the others hurriedly blocked the attack, but as soon as they blocked this wave of attacks, the next wave of soul beasts pounced on them, attacking them regardless of life and death, as if they only wanted their lives. Although a few people are not weak enough to withstand the attacks of these soul beasts, no one dares to say that they can survive in the face of this seemingly endless tide of beasts. Damn it, if this continues, will we all die here? Li Shuang said. His eyes turned cold, and he instantly turned the sword head and stabbed the last of the 3 Baifeng brothers. The third of the 3 Baifeng brothers was originally resisting the attacks of the spirit beasts with all his heart, but he didn't expect that the most deadly attack came from one of his own. He looked at Li Shuang in disbelief, but what he received in exchange was Li Shuang's fatal sword. The bald man saw what Li Shuang did and said angrily, "Li Shuang, you bastard! What are you doing? If we don't do this, we will all die here." Li Shuang shook the sword in his hand to shake off the blood. With him as food, these soul beasts will not care about attacking us, and we can take the opportunity to escape. This is the only way. Although the big man was angry in his heart, he also knew that the current situation was just as Li Shuang said. Is this the only way for everyone to survive? So he could only endure it temporarily and sprinted outside with Li Shuang. If Qi Ling's medicine is not available, then Li Shuang's method may really be feasible. After all, food is the only pursuit of these soul beasts. But since Qi Ling is here, how can these people who are so evil that they can abandon their own companions escape alive? Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.